Mesdames, Messieurs, chers amis jeunes, bonjour. C'est toujours un plaisir renouvelé de vous retrouver chaque jour devant votre petit écran pour nous suivre, nous écouter pour votre éducation et votre information. Mais aujourd'hui, on ira bien au-delà de l'éducation et de la formation. On entrera dans un monde purement imaginaire, le monde des mangas, un monde qui peut-être peut sembler irréel, mais qui décrit beaucoup de réalités. Aujourd'hui, nous avons avec nous un jeune homme qui, depuis son enfance, a nourri l'idée et la passion de ce monde des mangas, qui aujourd'hui est devenu un acteur incontournable du domaine, qui franchit les frontières internationales. Aujourd'hui, parle en termes de dollars, si vous voulez, si cela pourrait vous motiver. C'est EJOB qui est avec nous aujourd'hui. Et d'ailleurs, je ne serai pas seul pour l'accueillir parce qu'il fait dans un domaine où la langue, où les langues sont importantes pour éduquer, pour faire connaître son travail. Pour cette raison, je serai avec Priscilla, qui aura la charge d'échanger avec lui, et moi en particulier, en anglais et en français, afin que vous et nous soyons tous au même pied d'égalité linguistique. EJOB, good morning.
Good morning, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Priscilla, bonjour.
Bonjour Florence.
Comment tu te portes?
Oh, je me porte bien, très bien, merci. Et vous?
Alors, moi je me porte très bien. Connaissez-vous les mangas particulièrement avant d'arriver chez EJOB?
Of course, Laurent. You know, manga is something that does so much to childhood. You know, there's no person that grows up without watching manga. You know, those animes are so fun to watch and so educative, of course.
Et lorsque vous voyez EJOB, qui est un acteur aujourd'hui planétaire camerounais sur les mangas, quelle peut être la première impression que vous pouvez lui poser ou demander?
The first thing that comes to my mind when I think of this is, wow, Cameroun is growing big and big and big every day. So, Mr. EJOB, please, could you tell us much about this comic that you have ventured yourself into?
Okay, first off, I'm EJOB Nathaniel, and I founded an initiative called Zebra Comics. Now, how I found myself into comics is from a need to tell African stories. You know, growing up, we have all of us anyway, we are surrounded by Western content, by Asian content, and we like those stories, but the reality is that these stories, for the most part, don't relate to us on a personal level, or let me say, they do not tell our stories. I realized that these heroes that we were so attached to, I don't know, Spider-Man, Batman, and all that, they are in cities that don't look like us. They are in realities that we cannot relate to. They are even in countries that have nothing in common with us, except for the story itself, the core messaging in the story. But I wanted a scenario where we have heroes, we have characters that look like us. You know, stories that we can relate to. You know, Africa is full of so much cultural richness, so much mythology. So I wanted to explore that, but that's the need that I wanted to satisfy. So that's how Zebra Comics was born, and that's how I found myself in this in 2016.
Which is your background in school? A scientific, a literature, a technical, or what?
I did law in school. I did law in the University of Boya. However, I've always been fascinated by technology or science in general. Right now, the world is one where you need to actually be interested in both. I've always been interested in science. That's one of the reasons why we are particularly pushing forward for technological innovation in various aspects of our technology right now on the Zebra Comics platform. We have AI that we're developing AI to help readers have a better experience in terms of things like recommendations, yeah, so that people can have personal experience with our platform. So your experience is different from my experience and all that. So I'm really someone who is interested in the arts and the sciences.
On sait quand même que pour faire dans ce domaine-ci, il faut avoir un background littéraire, beaucoup plus, parce que c'est vrai, le technologique, mais il faut écrire les dialogues. Et là, on voit quand même quelqu'un peut-être qui n'a pas un background, qui est peut-être littéraire, mais qui écrit. Est-ce que c'est une motivation que vous avez eue de lecture bien avant, ou alors il y a des gens qui écrivent et puis vous montez juste?
Non, je suis d'abord un écrivain aussi. Je suis artiste. J'aime dessiner. J'ai dessiné au moins 10 bandes dessinées, personnellement. Donc, je dessine aussi. J'ai écrit aussi. J'ai écrit 2 romans. Bon, j'ai ces backgrounds. Au secondaire, j'ai fait l'art. So, it's something I'm particularly...
That's very, very much interesting. Meaning you have read books from great minds such as JEUNE, George Orwell.
Yeah, exactly.
So could you tell us more how these great minds helped to shape your path?
Imagination. They made my imagination go wild. You know, you quoted Achebe, you quoted the George Orwell books and all that. Those are things we started reading back in the secondary school days. And even when I left, I was reading a lot of novels, maybe from Terry Pratchett, maybe from the popular J.K. Rowling. So they were a way to shape my imagination, you know. That's the power of stories. Stories can make you think beyond what is currently the reality, you know.
So apart from all these, you're a young Cameroonian. What were your first steps to venture into this comics?
That's a very good question. The first step, I think I was in Boya. I was in Boya back then, and I had a tremendous need to want to tell our stories, but I wanted something that would change the world, so to speak. I wanted something that would create impact. I didn't just want to create comics and sell them maybe the traditional way, you know, do a couple of book signings there, here and there. I wanted something that would outlive me, that would last longer. You know, something that has actual impact on our society. So I decided, okay, I'm not going to do this alone. The idea is definitely bigger than me, so I need a team. But I was looking for something in particular. I didn't just want to put geeks together. I needed people that had other skills beyond just being writers or artists. So I looked environment, my group of friends, and I was looking, okay, I had Franklin, okay, he's good in marketing, he studied marketing in school, he's really good in communicating and all that. So I say, Frank, join me. I looked at Marvin, and Marvin is really good with public relations, he's really good in organizing events, he's really good at talking to people. That's not my forte, you know, I'm kind of shy. So I said, Marvin, join me, you're also a geek. And Marvin was like, hey, don't say it twice, I'm already in, I've been thinking about stuff like this. So I looked at others, people, okay, I was doing law, so I knew that, okay, I could maybe think of a way to structure the company and set up things like contracts, create systems and all that. I also have a background in insurance, and I used to work as a redactor in Shanas Assurance in Bamenda there. So I had a bit of that corporate background, which I wanted to bring into this, to create order in the industry, to create something that will outlive me, that will last.
Moi, je voulais plutôt revenir sur l'inspiration, parce que vous parlez beaucoup d'imagination. Mais qu'est-ce qui vous a mené jusqu'à aussi dans les profondeurs africaines, que sont les mythologies? C'est ça qui est impressionnant, c'est ça la créativité, c'est ça l'innovation. Mais quel était votre secret pour aller chercher là-bas?
L'Afrique est riche avec nos cultures, nos mythologies, etc. Donc c'était juste une question de regarder à gauche et à droite. Vous voyez, par exemple, les Passamoto. On voulait quelqu'un pour combattre Superman. On a regardé, on a réalisé que bon, il y a le dieu Bakweri que tout le monde connaît, donc on peut l'utiliser pour combattre Superman. Donc, it was a question of just looking around, because Africa is so rich. Go to any village now, for instance, any community, you hear so many stories. I think Zebra has about 100 stories now. All of it is not mythology. We have romance in there, we have fantasy in there, we have science fiction in there. You know, to show that Africa, we can dream beyond the present. We have stories that have a version of Yaoundé que tu n'as pas encore vu. C'est Yaoundé comme ça. Non, c'est pas Yaoundé, mais it's what Yaoundé could be. You understand? That is how you inspire a generation. That's the power of stories. On a les tablettes aujourd'hui, mais the first tablet that we ever saw was on a Star Trek movie. We saw people touching screens and all that. It was science fiction back then. But today is the reality. Everybody is touching screens. You understand? So it's what stories can do. Stories can actually change can actually inspire people to to change their reality, to show you what is possible. Everybody, we have watched a lot of movies avec les voitures, volants, etc. Aujourd'hui, il y a les scientifiques partout qui essayent de créer ça. Pour qu'une histoire soit intéressante, il faut que ça soit plus large que la vie actuelle.
Il faut créer, il faut ajouter un plus. Mais êtes-vous prêt à aller au-delà du Cameroun? Peut-être demain aller chercher les mythes de la Côte d'Ivoire, les mythes du Ghana? Parce qu'aujourd'hui, vous serez au Cameroun, c'est vrai, mais les gens voudront aussi que vous parlez de leurs mythes. Et nous pensons que c'est une bonne éducation pour l'histoire même de nos pays, notre continent, pour leur dire qu'on a aussi des guerriers ici qui ne sont pas seulement fictifs. Parce que oui, Batman, Superman sont peut-être fictifs, mais nos Bakwiri, eux, ils sont réels. Et on peut montrer à travers vos dessins, justement, que voilà ce qu'ils font. Est-ce que vous comptez donc partir au-delà du Cameroun?
Ça c'est une bonne question parce que on est en train d'une phase dans notre société qui est focalisée beaucoup sur l'Afrique entière. On est en train de créer ce qu'on appelle des zebraverse. C'est un univers basé sur toute la mythologie africaine. Donc, dans le Zebraverse, bon, c'est tout d'une histoire qu'on appelle God Level Academy. So the story is about there was a time in Africa, I don't know what time in the future, it's a story, where suddenly a man, a millionaire, realized that the ancient African gods were awakening again in young people. Donc il y avait les jeunes adolescents en train de manifester les pouvoirs des anciens dieux africains. Donc il a décidé de créer une académie pour recruter toute cette jeune dieux, to teach them the ways of Ubuntu, togetherness, bring them together and inspire Africa through its gods. So that's what we're actually creating now. We have gods from the southern regions of Africa, the western regions of Africa, eastern regions of Africa, Central Africa. We have Sango in there, we have Oya, we have so many gods from across Africa. So it's something that we're actually working on now called God Level Academy. It's actually one of Zebra's biggest projects at the moment. We're putting a lot of energy in there because we think that it's a way to show Africa's grandeur, So I think nous sommes sur la bonne voie.
D'accord, donc je vous ai déjà anticipé.
Oui.
Priscilla.
Bringing back so many of those myths helps to teach the younger generation because some of these stories are very much forgotten. I, for one, I got to know about a Pasamoto when I was in OPSI. And that's something so interesting to hear. So what feedback do you get from African youth when they listen to such stories?
Okay, the feedback is tremendously positive. It's tremendously positive. I've always known there is a need for these stories. Back in 2016, we did a bit of research on the market. Because you want to start something, you have to figure out if it's actually something that people want, especially if you want to create a business out of it. So when we did our research, long story short, it showed us that there was a market for it. At the time, we were just trying to figure out our business model. But the feedback we get are in two fronts. There's always a positive and a negative. There are people that are so into the Western or Japanese way or culture that they don't even see value in their own stuff anymore. And then there are those like some of us that are like, no. We have to start telling our own stories. At times human beings are complex. So you may be doing something trying to push forward Africa, and there will still be those who are not in for it because they grew up with something else. It's now your duty to show them something else the challenge we usually used to have was on the front of the quality that they expect. DC Comics is not coming to work with you if you are doing mediocre work, you know. So we had to be intentional about the quality of the stories we want to tell. So, and I think that the fact that Zebra Comics is a sustainable company today is not just because Americans buy subscriptions, Cameroonians buy it too, Nigerians buy it too, South Africans buy it too. So Africa generally is beginning to wake up to accepting that we can tell our stories and enjoy our stories and share our stories. So the feedback is good. Il y a les blancs qui ne pensent pas que le contenu va être bon. Donc tu as beaucoup de travail à leur convaincre d'essayer juste. There was a time where we just had a just try campaign, you know, where we just want people to just try, you know, and when they try, they're like, huh, it's actually good. So I remember I had a neighbor, just a small story. Yeah. I had a neighbor, my former neighbor. She's not a comic book person. She doesn't read comics, so she decided one day to try it out, just to try it out. I remember coming back in the house after work, and my neighbor was waiting for me at the gate. She was very angry. I don't know. She was like, "What is wrong with you?" I was like, "What did I do? Do we have a problem?" She's like, "No. L'histoire là est terminée avec un suspense. Quelle histoire?" Elle me dit que Kawan a l'une des histoires qui est sur l'application. I was shocked because I was like, you read comics depuis quand que tu lis? Non, j'ai seulement décidé d'essayer ça. Et I found myself embedded in the story so much that I finished the entire thing and I'm waiting for season 2. It was crazy. So I think that at times you just have to look for a way to get people to just try it.
So Mr. EJOB, can you tell us some of the challenges you face in venturing into this path?
There are so many challenges. The first challenge that any startup will always tell you is funding. Funding is always a problem. It's one of the first things that every startup looks for in order to kick off with their activities. When I started with my team in 2016, and we didn't have funding for this. We had to build a technology, and before the technology, we started traditionally. We print copies, sell. You have to printing costs money. So I did a lot of small jobs, you know, to gather funds together. My team and I remember I used to sell books, sell T-shirts, I've sold a lot of stuff. I was on the street. I was even carrying stuff selling. I've sold a lot of things. So just to get money, and I got that money put into printing. You know, we tested our first print run in 2017. Printed 500 copies, sold about 300 in about 3 months. And at least that was proof to us that there is a market. But still then, it wasn't sustainable. Selling 300 copies doesn't mean you have a business that can feed you long term. I have a team, we have to feed ourselves. We're trying to build something sustainable. The artist I am today is different from the artist I was 9 years ago. I'm kind of proud of myself now compared to that even though an artist is never satisfied with their...
Et justement, vous parlez d'un souci qui est général, hein, beaucoup d'entrepreneurs, parce qu'on pense que c'est de l'entrepreneuriat que vous faites, ont ce problème. Mais lorsque vous avez quand même un partenariat, une collaboration avec DC Comics, on se dit quand même que ça peut vous lancer. Et comment vous accueillez cette collaboration?
Our collaboration with DC Comics, it has been an enormous experience, to say the least, in the sense that it was, in a way, an affirmation of the work we have done before. Yeah. Because the thing is, we didn't reach out to DC. We didn't go out to them. We weren't looking for it because we didn't think that we were enough to start approaching this type of... In fact, it was not part of our mission to go and start looking for partnerships with big companies, because why would they listen to you? So when they got to us, it was first of all a shock, and with time we asked them, why did you guys want to work with us? And they told us that they have been doing their research, they have been seeing what we were doing, and they saw that it was good, the quality was there, it was consistent, and they saw we had a philosophy of pushing African stories, and we were very professional in the way we were doing and things. We were being very very vocal, very visual, very present. C'est actuellement notre deuxième projet avec DC Comics. Notre premier projet, c'était sur Joker. On a beaucoup appris chez eux et Joker a eu un succès global et ils ont décidé, bon, on va continuer avec les gens aussi.
Et qu'est-ce que ça vous fait?
I feel good. I feel good. La vérité, c'est que je me sens très bon, mais je ne sais pas si c'est un défaut chez les entrepreneurs. Nous ne sommes jamais satisfaits. On veut, we want to become better. We want to keep evolving. I think it's a culture, c'est une culture qu'on a développée chez nous, de toujours chercher d'évoluer. Vous voyez, et c'est pourquoi ça nous a fait. Nous sommes maintenant le premier studio africain de bande dessinée dans le monde entier.
DC est l'une des plus grandes maisons dans le monde qui a plus de 85 ans et qui a produit quand même Batman, qui a produit Superman, super-héros. Et donc quand vous collaborez avec eux, au moins vous avez ce soutien, cette visibilité et ça vous gagne beaucoup. Alors, Précis?
I have just one question for you, Mr. EJOB. Finally, what is the message you're sending out to these young Cameroonians, these young Africans who have this passion but are very much hesitant to find themselves into this path?
The advice I'm going to give is not necessarily what someone will expect to hear. The first thing I'm going to tell you is give up. Give up if you are not ready to go right to the end. I'm saying so because unless you are willing to go right to the end, you won't survive. Zebra Comic, it took us 7-8 years to become #1 in Africa. Why? For simple things that everybody else is doing, which are, you have an app. We have an app, right? And the app publishes every single day. My goal was that first I wanted to create a place where creators can, I'm talking particularly comic book creators, can publish or create their work and earn a living from it. That was my goal and it has never changed.
Pour finir, are you academic of youth? When you learn youth people qui veulent devenir comme vous?
Bon, facilement sur les réseaux sociaux, mais on a une campagne qu'on va bientôt lancer ce mois-ci pour commencer les masterclass sur comment lancer sur ce qu'on fait.
L'entrepreneuriat.
Oui, l'entrepreneuriat. Dans ce domaine, surtout dans ce domaine. Parce qu'il y a ce manquement des informations, beaucoup de gens lancent sur ça et après, quand ils échouent, c'est comme si l'industrie les a déçus, etc. Donc, il faut avoir les informations de comment faire et comment bien faire. Donc, on a décidé de faire des masterclass sur tout ça, comment créer les bandes dessinées, comment monétiser, comment marketer, etc., comment chercher les partenariats, tout ça. Donc, Zebra a décidé de prendre ça en charge pour faire ça. Et je pense que cette mois-ci, fin septembre, l'équipe va commencer avec ce programme-là.
Donc on espère que des jeunes vont vous rapprocher, on espère qu'ils vont s'abonner à vos pages pour être davantage informés. Et donc nous vous disons, mesdames et messieurs, merci de nous avoir suivis, surtout à ces jeunes passionnés, notamment des universités, où aujourd'hui il y a beaucoup de filières qui font dans l'art plastique et même l'art audiovisuel. Je parle de plusieurs universités publiques et même privées. Merci à Priscilla qui m'a accompagné durant cette interview. Merci à EJOB qui nous a reçus ici dans ce site d'Ubuntu, lui qui est un acteur qui valorise la culture africaine et à partir de qui aujourd'hui nos rois, nos dieux, nos cultures peuvent avoir une portée internationale sur le plan et sur la scène internationale et pourquoi pas mondiale demain lorsqu'il sera dans tous les pays du monde entier. Nous vous disons merci de nous avoir suivis, de nous avoir écoutés. Restez abonnés à nos pages et chaînes, restez informés parce que le meilleur, c'était les jeunes qui vous donnent ce qui est vrai, ce qui est juste et ce qui est sûr. Que Dieu vous bénisse. À bientôt.